So hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I will show you how to create a calculator with React Native. If till now you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. And also follow me on Instagram for more updates and reviews. So without wasting the time, let's start creating calculator with React Native full course. So as you can see over here, I'm having a clean, fresh React Native project with an empty app.js file which is not gonna display us any text in our app when we just start it out. As you can see, it's displaying us a blank page without any text. So let's import React from React to write a basic concept for running our React Native application. And now we are going to export a default class. We are going to name it as app that extends from React component. And inside this we are going to render and return our file that is going to be calculator screen, which is not yet created, but we are going to be creating it soon. So I'm just going to return my calculator screen file over here in my app.js file. And now let me just import my file from my calculator screen.js where it is located. So I will be creating it inside a screens folder. Inside this screen folder, I'm going to be having a calculator screen.js file. So I'm just importing it over here. After that, I'm going to create a new directory that is going to be screens, in which I'm going to include my calculator screen file. So let me create it over here. Now in this calculator screen.js file, I'm going to write the basic import statement from React and import some stylings like view, text and style sheet from React Native. Now let me create a default class that will be exported by default, which is going to be having a name of calculator screen that extends from React component. Extends from React component, and it's going to render, and I'm going to return a simple view for now, which is going to be having style of styles.container. In this view, I would like to display a simple text that is going to show us calculator screen main page. Great. That's it for our calculator screen.js file. Now let's add some stylings to our calculator screen page. We are gonna select our container, provide a flex of 1, align items center, and then justify content center. That's it. That's gonna help us to display our text in the middle of our application. Now let me just open my terminal and try to refresh it. Why my text is not being displayed? Alright, so I think so there's no issues. That's only the thing that I need to just start my React Native app again. So I'm just gonna simply change first of all my import statement to check whether I have imported from a correct directory or not. If still it is not being displayed after writing the code, we are just gonna restart our application. Then it's surely gonna display us, because sometimes that happens, so don't worry about it at all. So now let's create a new directory and name it as components. In this components directory, it's gonna be including display and our calculator button. So let's create a file of calculator button.js, which is gonna be including all of the code for our calculator button that we need to render in our calculator screen.js file. Write a basic import statement of React. Then import the stylings from React Native: style sheet, view, text, and the touchable opacity. For our button, we are going to be using the touchable opacity to have some animated buttons that will be imported from React Native. Now let me create a default exported class that is going to be named as calculator button that extends the React component. And now we are going to render and return. Let's create a touchable opacity button. In this touchable opacity button, we are going to be having a text for our button that is going to be having a style of styles dot, or we are going to be providing in an array two styles that is going to be styles dot text, and the another one is going to be color that we are going to provide. Otherwise we can just go out and just keep it simple styles.text for now. Okay, just keep it simple styles.text for now, and come to our touchable opacity button and define the stylings for our button over here. That's going to take an array in it because we're going to be having multiple stylings provided to it. First one is going to be the styles.container. Second one is going to be an object. Or we can just leave it simple for now. We are not going to make it more complicated at the beginning. And now let me add the default stylings that is going to be stylesheet.create for our touchable opacity and our buttons text. First, let's select our container and say them to align the items in center. Justify content center. After that, we are going to be providing margin from all the sides that is going to be 5 pixels. Now let me select my text, which is going to be having a stylings of font size that is going to be 30 pixels, font weight that is going to be bold. That's it for our text. We are all set for our calculator button. Now, before rendering our component, that means before rendering our class, create a static keyword that is going to be having a default props in it. That is going to be an object, which is going to take onPress keyword in it. That's going to call a function. OnPress is the key and a function is a value that we are going to get. Then we are going to set a title over here that is going to be an empty strings. Color is going to be white by default, and the background color we are going to provide that is going to be black. Yeah, so the title is empty because we are going to be assigning the value from another page, and the border radius I'm going to provide is going to be 40 pixel, and the stylings is going to be an empty object. Great, so now we are all set. Now come inside your render component. Before the return statement, create a variable of r that is going to be like this dot props dot radius. What is this dot props? That is selecting our static default props object that we have created and its value. Then create a variable of w that is going to be also for our radius but will be multiplied by 2. Create a third variable of an h that is going to take this dot props dot radius and that will also be multiplied by 2. Now let me create a variable of bc, that means the background color, which is going to take a background color in it, and that is going to be black. In simple words. Great. So now we are all set with our render variables. Now let's come to our touchable opacity after providing the styling in an array of container. We are going to be creating an object which is going to take width that is going to be w, that means our W variable, is going to be the width of our touchable opacity. Height is going to be H variable. Border is going to be R variable. And the background color is going to be the BC variable. This is how we assign the values and the stylings easily to our touchable opacity in React Native or any of our tags. Then let me create a second object that is going to take a spread operator with this .props.stylings. Great, we are all set with our touchable opacity. We are assigning that values over here in our touchable opacity. Got it. Now let's come to our text stylings. So we have provided a default style of text, and after our array ends we are going to create a color that's going to take this .props.color. So why we are getting the error? Okay, so we are getting the error over here because it should be inside an array, not outside of an array. My apologize. Sorry guys. So it should be inside an array. And now inside this text I would like to display the title. So I'm just gonna select this .props.title. That's gonna be displaying the title that we are going to be assigning it from my main page. So that's it for our calculator button.js file. Now create a new file that is going to be for our calculator display. So calculator display.js file, which is going to be including the code for displaying the number that we are entering in our calculator. That is going to be our calculator display. First import a basic React component. Then import some stylings from React Native. That is going to be style sheet, view, text, and that's it. That will be imported from React Native. Now create a default exported class that is going to be calculator display that extends from React component. And it's going to render an item, and in this it's going to return us the display screen. So create a view which is going to be having a style of style sheet, it is going to be styles.container. Okay, and in this view I would like to display a text that is going to be style, that is styles.display. And in this I would like to display this .props.display. That is going to help us to display the data that the user is going to be entering in our calculator button. Now let me just provide some stylings to it. That is going to be stylesheet.create. First we are going to select our container, which is going to be having a padding of 20 pixels from all the sides. Now let me just select my display. I'm going to change its font size, that is going to be 70 pixel. And the color I'm going to provide is going to be white by default. And now let me just align my text to the right hand side. Oh no, let me just keep it in center. Great. So now we are all set with our calculator display.js file. Am I right guys? Yes, so as you can see this display, that means this .props.display. So for doing that, just come before the render, create a static keyword variable of default props that is going to take an object in it. In this, create a display key that's going to be having a value of an empty strings, and the value will be assigned to it from our calculator screen.js file. That's going to be our main file. So now we are done with it. Now we need to export these two files from these files so we can access it in our main file. So create a index.js file. In that file just write export curly braces default as calculator button, the first file, from /your file name that you need to export. This is going to be the easy way to include all of your export statements over here. Same thing we are going to be doing for our calculator display. So the source code will be provided in the description below. You can access it and you are free to use and make changes in it. Great. So we are all done with our components file. Now we need to work is going to be only with our calculator screen.js file. Am I right, guys? Yes. So now we have created our calculator button page. We have created our calculator display component, not a page, it's a component. We have created index.js file that is just for exporting. And now we are all set. Now let's come to our app.js file. Let's come to our screen and come to our calculator screen.js file. This is the file in which we are going to be writing the whole code for displaying our calculator in a front end. And that's it. We are all set. So as you can see now, the calculator screen main page text is being displayed over here in my iOS emulator that we are displaying in our calculator screen.js file. Because I have just stopped my server and rerun it again, and now the text is being displayed. If you are facing this error, just stop your server from running and then restart it again. Alright, so now I'm just going to remove some styling and provide it different. That is going to be padding vertical, that is going to be 50 pixel. Then we're going to change the background color for our calculator screen to black. That styling is provided to our main container. And the padding vertical is 50. So now we are all set. Why we are providing this padding vertical for 50? To get spaces from the vertical side of 50 pixel to make our app look cool and clean. Let me come to my Firefox. Now the link will be provided in the description below for this Swiss calculator library. Just come to the GitHub link, click on code, and you can download it as zip. Because this is the file that will be including all of the functionality for making our calculator work. You can scroll down and see the documentation how to use it in your project. We are having some script files that we need to include. So I have already downloaded it and I have extracted it. Just open the folder. Inside this folder, you're going to be getting some files with the extension of JS. You need to select that files, copy that files from here and paste it in your main React project. The React Native project that you have created, create a new folder in it. Create a new folder in it that is going to be like library. In that folder, you need to include these files or you can paste it. So let me just close my Firefox. Suddenly it opened. And what's happening? Okay, so there are so many files open. So let me just close it. And now let me select it and copy. Let me come to my project in my desktop. It's named as Calculator Tutorial Native. Inside that, I'm going to create a new folder. That is going to be library. So I'm just going to keep lib. In this, I'm just going to paste all of those extension with JS files. And now we are all set. Now just come to your code editor. Open those files one by one. So we need to just change some text in it. So as you can see, this is the first file, which is swisscalculator.calculator.js file. Now just press Command plus F to replace. Okay, just press Command plus F. Alright. So why is my hotkeys not working? Okay, so see, as you can see over here, we need to change this Swiss calculator from Swiss calculator to global Swiss calculator. So now just I'm gonna select my Swiss calculator and replace it with global dot Swiss calculator. That's it. Now you need to replace it. Let me just check the spelling. Okay, great. Replace it and remove the variable from the first variable. Remove it and simple keep it as global.swisscalculator. Repeat the same things with all of these files as you can see it over here. I'm gonna be doing the same thing with all of these files. I'm gonna select, replace the Swiss calculator from global.swisscalculator and remove the variable. That's it. So now let me just do it as fast as possible. Replace all this Swiss calculator with global Swiss calculator. And now if you're seeing the app, it is just displaying a black background. Because why is our text is not being displayed? Because our text color is black and the background color also we have changed it to black. That's why our color is, that means our text is not visible. When we will change our text color to white, it will be visible. Okay, so now we are done with all of our files. Now let me collapse my folder, come to my calculator screen.js file. Now I need to require that files over here. So for requiring that files, I'll be coming to the documentation for our Swiss calculator library. So let me come to my Firefox. And now as you can see includes the file. Just copy these all script tags, copy it, open your VS Code editor and paste it above your import React statement. And now you're gonna get an error because it is including the script tag. So just remove all of the script starting tag and the ending tags. And now you need to use the require method to require these files. Alright, so now add require parenthesis and then same thing you need to repeat it for all of these files. So I'm just gonna copy it and paste it for making the video easier and short. And now let me close it with parenthesis and semicolon. That's it. We are all set. Now we are going to paste our shunting yard 2 times and change the library to display. And then we are going to import numeric display.js file. That you need to do it manually. Now second one is also going to be importing from display and it is going to be memory display. Great. So now we are all set with our required statements. Now let's write our main code. So now inside my import statement, after that I'm going to import my calculator display and calculator button from my components. Calculator button from components. Great. So if till now you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. And now before your render method, we are going to create a constructor method which is going to take up props as the parameter in it. In this we are going to be having a super method which is going to take props as a parameter in it, and then we are going to say this dot state that equals to as an object, in which I am going to be adding the display as an empty string with the value of 0. By default we are going to display the 0 variable. Okay, so now we are all set with our constructor. Now let's come to the Firefox and we can see that we are having some code named as use the commands. Just copy the first 2 lines of the code and paste it in your constructor. And if you need to write this code is used to test whether your calculator functionality is working fine or not. But we are not going to do that. We are just going to keep our video as simple as possible. So now, after my state object ends, I'm going to paste that 2 lines of code over here. Great. Now we're going to be getting an error. So we're going to be adding the global keyword before our Swiss calculator. And for the second variable also we're going to be doing the same. Now, after the constructor, create a function. That is just a comment, functions for calculator button. In this we are going to be including all of the functionalities, all of the functions for our calculator buttons. Okay, so I'm just providing it a comment so it will be really easy for you all guys to understand when you will be downloading the source code. So the first function is going to be onDigit press. That function is going to take a parameter as it is going to be digit. I'm going to say this dot calculator dot add digit method will be called over here, and we are going to pass digit as a parameter in it. Then we are going to say this dot set my state to display to the value of this dot calculator dot get main display method. So this is just going to change the value of your display in your state variable. That's it. This is the main code you need to understand what is happening over here. It is just changing the value of your display. The user is going to press, and this function will be called onDigit press. And that for displaying it in a front end, we are going to be calling this get main display method. Now we're just going to copy the same method and paste it once more. And now I'm just going to paste it 2 times and change the second function to onUnary operator press, which is going to take a parameter that is going to be operator. Now this dot calculator dot, we are going to be using the add unary operator method, which is also going to take a parameter that is going to be operator. Now that's it. We are all set with our second function for unary operator press. Third function we are going to rename it with on binary operator press, which is going to take a parameter that is also going to be the operator. And now we are going to be using the method that is going to be add binary operator, which is going to take a parameter of an operator in it. Same thing we have done with our unary operator press method. Now that's it with our third function also. Great, we are all set. After that, we are going to create our fourth function, that is going to be on equals press. When the user is going to press the equal to button, we are going to be selecting this dot calculate dot, we are going to be using over here the equal method, that is equals pressed, which is going to not take any kind of a parameter in it. Okay, then we are going to select this dot set our state, select our display column. We are going to select this dot calculate dot get main display method over here. Same thing we have done with all of our function that we have created till now. Now let's create our fifth function, that is going to be, let me just copy this on equals press function and paste it once more. And now I'm going to change from equal press to clear press to just clear our get main display. And now I'm going to be using the clear method over here. That's it. We are all set up with our fifth function. Sixth function we are going to change, that is going to be on plus minus press, or we are going to keep it on plus, yeah, let's go with on plus minus press. That will be a good naming convention. And we are going to be using the negate method over here. That's it with our last function. Now the last function we are going to create over here, that is going to be on backspace press, which is going to take a method that is going to be just it is backspace. Okay, the method is going to be backspace method, which is not going to take any parameter in it. And now we are set up with all of our functionalities that we will be using in our calculator. Am I right, guys? Yes, these are the functions that we will be calling when the user clicks on a calculator button. It's really simple to understand. Am I right? Yeah. And now as you can see, we are getting the error over here, that is unexpected token expected a comma. So don't worry about it at all. We are getting this error in our required statements. Yeah, so now we have done something wrong over here. So let me see what's that. We are going to fix every error we're going to be getting. We're going to be fixing it together. So why we are getting this error being displayed over here? Because there's something wrong in our required statement. Okay, so what we need to do over here is that we need to require it from a library folder. Am I right? So just display the path of your library directory that we have created in our React Native project, and do this for all of your required statements, and then the error will be fixed. And boom, guys, now let me just try to save it, and now it should not display me any error, and the error is not being displayed. Let me just add some stylings to my calculator screen main page and change its color to red or a white. Let's go with white. And now it should display me the calculator screen main page text. That's it, guys. Now the functionalities we have defined over here for our calculator. Now let's display our calculator buttons and add this function call in it. Great, we are all set. So now we need to just render our buttons and display it in our calculator by calling these functions that we have created. So now come inside your container view, or just leave the container view, create a new view for a second. Create a new view which is going to be having a style that is going to be flex1. Then we are going to say them to justify content flex end. This view is going to be for our display, that means our calculator display. Now we are going to call our calculator display that we have already imported. In that I'm just going to pass a display value, which is going to take this dot state dot display value and store it in our display that we have created in our calculator display .js file. And now you can see 0 is being displayed. That is the default value that we have assigned to it. Now we are all set with our calculator display. As you can see, the default value is 0 and we are importing our calculate display. So now let's work with our calculator buttons. So come outside of your flex end view, that is just for display. I'm just going to provide it a comment that is going to be display. That will be really good for you all guys to understand the code easier. So now we are going to provide a comment that is going to be, let me just think, let's go with calculator buttons. That's it. Now we are going to be writing the code for displaying our calculator buttons. Create a view, don't provide any class or styling. Inside that view, create another view which is going to be having a styling of flex direction, that is going to be row. Then we are going to say them to justify the content space evenly or space between. That's it. Now in this view we are going to display our buttons. So for displaying our buttons, we are going to be calling our calculator button.js file that we have imported. which is going to take onPress event in it. So when the user presses this button, we are going to call a function that we have created. So we're going to go with this dot on clear press method that we have created. Am I right, guys? Yes. Then I'm going to provide a title to my calculator button that is going to be AC. That's just for clearing all the display. Color I'm going to keep white, which is by default, and the background color I would like to change, that is going to be hashtag DCC894. That's it. Now just create the same thing. Create a calculator button, add an onPress event, create a title, color, and a background color. As you can see, the button is being displayed over here with some touchable opacity. So we are going to repeat the same thing. So we are going to create a calculator button, add the onPress function, add a title, add a color that you need for that specific button, and add a background color. This is going to be for our on plus minus press button, which is going to be having a title of plus / minus. I'm going to keep the color white, and the background color is going to be the same that we have provided to our clear press button. Hashtag DCC894. And now let's create our third button. So as you can see, now two buttons are being displayed in a row. It is having the space evenly stylings provided to it. Let me create a calculator button. When the user press on this button, I'm going to call a function that is going to be this dot. We will be using on unary operator press method now, which is going to take the value that is going to be this dot oc dot percent operator. If you need a documentation or full explanation, the link will be provided in the description below for GitHub. Go there and access the full documentation on how to create calculator with React Native. Now let me just provide a title that is going to be percentage. Color I'm going to keep, that is going to be white. Background color is going to be same, hashtag DCC894. Great. Now let's create our fourth and last button for this row. That is going to be, first let's go with calculate button on press. We are going to call a function which is going to be this dot on binary operator press, which is going to take value in it, that is going to be this dot oc dot division. Operator. So guys, I apologize for late, but it's good. Now let's provide it a title that is going to be the division, that means /. Color is going to be white, and now the background color is going to be changed, that is going to be hashtag DCA394. It's type of a light pink, and that looks really good. So don't worry about whether that our calculator buttons are being overflowed. Don't worry about it at all. It will be fixed after creating the whole buttons in a view, step by step. So still I'm just checking some stylings that I have provided. No need to do that because everything is all set. Now I'm going to copy the view and paste it once more for our second row for our buttons. As you can see, now it is displaying in a good way. That's it. We are all set. Now I have pasted the same view 3 times. So it is displaying me 3 rows. Let me just maximize my VS Code editor for a clear view of our code, and it will be really easy to see for you all guys. So now we are just going to change the title. We are going to change the onPress function, and we are going to change the background color. So go through it, it's going to be really easy. So the title I'm going to keep is going to be 7. And now when this function is called, I'm going to call a function that is going to be onDigitPress method, and I'm going to pass it a value that is going to be 7. Same thing I'm going to do with all of my buttons that I'm going to create. Like this button is going to be having a title of 8. When the user press on it, I'm going to call this method, which is going to take a value of 8 and assign it to our calculator display. Now I'm going to continue the same thing for all of our buttons, like all of our 3 buttons with the numerics, and the last one I will explain you. I'm just changing the background color for our button that is going to be hashtag 607D8B for making it different from our first row buttons. And third function is going to also take a digit, so I'm just gonna remove this method. So I'm just gonna select it from here, or let me just first change the background color. Now change the title, that is going to take a title of 9. And now let me just remove this function that I have created till here. Okay, and now I'm gonna say this dot this sorry, I apologize, this dot onDigitPress method, which is gonna take a value of 9. Now the last one, this is not going to take a division operator, it's going to take a multiplication operator. And now we are going to change the title, that is going to be multiplication, so we are just going to keep X for easy understandable, and the background color is going to be same. Now let's come to our third row values. So now we are getting this dot calculator add digit press or onDigitPress method error. So don't worry about it at all. Create all of your buttons, and after that you will be seeing that your calculator application will be working fine. And if you are just having some doubt why you are not showing it now, don't worry guys, I will show you at the end, or you can just get the source code down below, download and check it out. So now when the user press, I'm just calling this onDigitPress in a curly braces for fixing some errors. Okay, so now what I'm going to do over here is that I'm just calling my onDigitPress method simple. I'm just gonna cover them inside a curly braces and call it like a method. Okay, so now let me just open my calculator. And as you can see, 7, 8, 9 and multiplication button is being displayed over here, and that's really cool. And it is having some touchable opacity effects because we are using the touchable opacity button over here. Now we can see all functions, we have defined it over here, and we are using these functions in our button when the user presses that button. Am I right guys? Yes. And now I'm just gonna copy this calculate button, or I'm just gonna cut it for a second, copy my 7, 8, 9 calculate buttons and paste it over here. So we need to just change some of the numbers when the user presses that specific digit. And let me just paste it once more. Should I? Okay, let's paste it 2 times more. Okay guys, so now we are all set. Now let's make some changes. So as you can see, our calculator looks really good and amazing. So now I'm just gonna change values like 7, 8, 9 in our first. Now we're just gonna change it to 4, 5 and 6. And now let me even change the title. That's going to be 5 and the last one is going to be 6. And now we are going to be using not a binary operator. Yeah, we are going to be using the binary operator, but it's not going to be multiplication operator. It's going to be the subtraction operator. And now I'm just going to change the title to minus over here. And that's it. You are all set. Same thing we are going to be repeating for next of our buttons. Now over here I will change this to 3, or go with 1, 2 and 3. Yeah, sorry, my apologize. And the title is also going to be changed to 1, 2 and 3. And this one is not going to be the multiplication operator, this one is going to be the addition operator. Now let me just change the title to the plus symbol. Now we are having this last one, we are just going to be removing one row from here, and we are going to be having only 3 buttons. One is going to be 0, so let me define it over here, 0, and the second one is going to be dot. Third one is, let me just change the title, the first one is 0 and the second one is having a title of dot. The last one, I'm just gonna remove this line of code or change the title to equal to. Yeah, this is just going to be for our equal button. Now let me change this on digit press parameter, that is also going to be equal to. Now let's remove this function, and now we're going to be calling over here the equals method that we have created. So this dot on equal press method that we're going to be calling when the user clicks on this button. And the color, I'm just gonna keep it white. Let me just remove this extra curly braces from here, and that's it. We are all set. And this is how to create a calculator app with React Native. Full functional calculator app. You can just download the source code and see the live demo. If till now you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. And you need more clones or more projects like calculator app, e-commerce app, website and all, just comment down below in the comment down below of my video. I will surely create it as soon as possible. And do not forget to follow me on Instagram. Just go guys, please follow me on Instagram, and that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video.